Hello besties, welcome back to my channel. My name is Steph and I cannot lie to you right now. My air conditioning just kicked on. But also, it is supposed to be the second half of Summerween right now, but you know, I'm feeling so burnt out. I haven't even read that much for Summerween, but the problem is I'm having like an anxiety moment, you know? Anxiety, she is the moment. So it's really hard for me to read horror and thrillers and just like really dark things at the same time over and over again. And I read like 4 thriller and horror books back to back to back, and I'm just feeling a lot of feels. So we're just gonna do a weekly vlog. And I have a little bit of a TBR, but I'm not like married to this TBR. The only book that I like absolutely want to finish is The Foxhole Court, because I got sucked into a buddy read with Erin and a bunch of our patrons. So I think that's one that I absolutely want to read. But the other one that I'm hoping to definitely finish in this vlog is The Sky on Fire by Jen Lyons. Jen Lyons also wrote the Chorus of Dragons series, the first one being The Rune of Kings. And this is a standalone dragon book. I've been highly anticipating this book. I know I need to finish The Chorus of Dragons, but I just really want to read about dragons right now. I haven't read a lot of standalone fantasies that I've ended up loving. I think Sword of Kaigen is the last one that I've given 5 stars and really loved. All of the rest of them I haven't really enjoyed that much, or it turns into multiple books in the series, so it's not just the standalone. So yeah, Foxhole Court and The Sky on Fire are like the 2 that I absolutely want to finish. And then I also have Guild by Kennedy Ryan, because I've just been seeing this everywhere. It recently got picked up by traditional publishers, so I don't know if they actually edited it or not, but they recently came out with some special editions with like sprayed edges. It's been getting hype again. I've been seeing it everywhere and I really want to give it a shot. I know that a lot of people say this one reads more like a prequel to the series rather than the first book in a series, so I'm keeping that in mind going into this one. And then lastly, I recently picked up How to Become a Dark Lord and Die Trying by Django Wexler. I did read Ashes of the Sun and I really enjoyed it. I like Django Wexler's writing, but what really pushed me to get this one is that Kayla from Books and Lala ended up loving this and she's been hyping it up. And Kayla doesn't read fantasy as much. Like, I know she's getting more into it, but the fact that she gave this such high praise, I was like, I have to read this. I have to check it out. Oh my god, Fonda Lee blurbed this. Outrageously fun, filled with humor, action, and unexpected warm-heartedness. Shonda McGuire said, fast-paced, brilliantly raunchy, and unforgettable. My favorite read of this year. That is hilarious. Jen Lyons also blurbed this. Wickedly sharp, wickedly talented, wickedly sharp, funny, and raunchy. Interesting. I don't think I knew that about this book, which, whatever, I don't care. I doubt that I'll read all 4 of these, and there is a possibility that my mind will change about what I want to read. That being said, I do work today. I have a late day because I'm covering a shift for someone, so I only have like a half day, but it's a closing shift, so I go in much later, which gives me so much anxiety going in late to work. I feel like I need to check my email before I get there because I don't know, I'm always like anxious that something has happened while I wasn't there, which it doesn't matter because I'm not there. I don't need to be there for whatever it is. But anyway, I have like 3 hours until I go in, so I have a checklist of things that I need to get done. I really need to tidy the house. Like, it has been cluttered, work has been kicking my ass, so I haven't been cleaning regularly. And then I really want to change my sheets and start a load of laundry. And I also need to fill out my planner for this month, so I'm hoping that this week is the week where I can get organized and like back on track. Okay, let's get this house in order. college right now, and I just finished the Foxhole Court. Why was it so bad, so unserious, so problematic, but also like really fun? And I immediately started the second one, and I'm already 3 chapters into the second one. I love all of the reviews that are like, this is so bad, but like I had so much fun and I'm gonna continue the series, because that is so real. I don't know what is in this book. I don't know what's in this series. What did Nora do to us? Because I'm having a really fun time, but also it's just like murder sports with a bunch of stabby characters. I'm here to finally update you about the Foxhole Court and the fact that I'm halfway through The Raven King, which is the second book in the Foxhole Court series. I actually don't remember what this series is titled, but the first one is the Foxhole Court. And this one is so fun. Like, it's so unserious and it's so bad and it's so unhinged, but like there's just something about these books. There's just something about these books that make you want to keep reading and figure out what's happening here. Like, is the plot nonsensical? Absolutely. The fact that it ends on like a semi cliffhanger where you're like, why did we have this book? But also I need to know more, and I need to know more about these characters. And are these specific characters gonna get together? Is that what's gonna happen? I want to give you a synopsis, but I also feel like going into this book with very little knowledge, except for the fact that it is extremely problematic. Like, I would totally look up the triggers, because there is an extensive list of trigger warnings about this series. Olive's here. Like I was trying to say, there's an extensive triggers list that I think you should look up if you are interested in reading this book, because there are a lot of really problematic things that happen. And I think the fandom, for the most part, like really acknowledges that this is the case for this series. But this is kind of like a stabby sports, I don't even know if romance is what you would call it, because I don't really know if the romance is going to be heavily emphasized in the rest of the series, and I'm not even quite sure if the two people that I want to get together are going to get together. We're pretty much following our main character Neil, as well as a bunch of people and teammates associated with this XC team, which is the made-up sport that they're playing. And Neil is recruited to the Foxhole Court team, and this team is known to be really bad, but they recently became Title 1, which I don't know sports, but I think that just means they've moved up a level in their ranking and like are now playing different teams. And so because of this, there's a lot of pressure on this team, and you kind of start to realize that like everyone on the team is broken in some way, like comes from a broken past in some capacity. And so you're getting to know all of these people, and like Neil learning to trust them. And I'm hoping there's a romance between Neil and a particular teammate, but I don't really know if that's gonna happen. And yeah, now I'm halfway through The Raven King, which is the second book in this series. It's genuinely just been a really fun, goofy, unhinged time, and I'm excited to see if I can make it through this whole series this week. But I also want to pick up Guild tomorrow. My friend Robin from Robin Reads and I are gonna buddy read it, so I'm gonna pick it up tomorrow because she said that she will be picking it up tomorrow. So I will try to read as much of The Raven King. I think I can finish it today, actually. So I'm gonna try to finish it today. But either way, I'm gonna read as much as I can, whether that means finishing it or not, before I start Guild tomorrow. I also wanted to update you because I got a package today. So Jan from Jan Agaton has some really cute merch, and I recently bought a sweater in the middle of summer. Don't ask me why, I always do this. It's because I miss fall. Even though I do love summer, I actually am a summer lover. I just love fall more. But this heat this year is really getting to me. Anyway, I got one of her sweaters. It's so cute. I also don't have many sweaters in this color, but it is the Tink one. I think she made these for autumn, like Halloween last year. But yeah, it's so cute. And I know the Tink is because her and Joey do their little Tink. But this is so cute, and I was like, yeah, I've got to do it. Oh, I didn't even realize it says Jan's name on the front. That is really cute. But I love the little pumpkin, and I love the colors, and I just felt like the sand one, I don't have much in this color. So yeah, I will tag Jan and link this down below if you are interested in it. It's very cute. I'm so excited to wear this. besties, I have done absolutely nothing today. I have been rotting on the couch and I finally ate something and now I feel alive and able to update you about what's been going on in my life. I can't lie to you, I went a little bit hard the last 2 days, like getting my house in order, and I'm exhausted. Also, I think I said in the beginning of this video, work has kind of been exhausting. So that's just another reason to sit and rot on the couch. Also, the Foxhole Court has taken over my life and I have finally finished the series. I finished the trilogy. I don't think I'm gonna jump into the Sunshine Court quite yet because we don't really know when the next one's gonna come out. And like, I have no room to complain because it's been 10 years. So I can't complain. I'm not gonna complain about it, but I just don't think I'm gonna jump into it until I like know when we're gonna get the next two, because this is gonna be another trilogy from what I understand. And apparently the Sunshine Court is like incredible. My bestie Erin gave it 5 stars. Anyway, like I was saying in my update, I think it was yesterday, I am not widely recommending this series. I'm just in it for the trashy fun time that it is, because I'm also trashy fun time. It is so unserious. It's just so unserious and so fun, and like it was the escape that I needed, which is very bizarre to say because it's actually very dark. It's a very, very dark book. There are lots of things in this book that made me cry, and there's a lot of things that you witness on page or like are alluded to on page that are really, really difficult to stomach. I cried many times at many parts throughout this series just because of how dark things got. Like everyone is so troubled in this book, which really is the point. Like the whole point of the Foxhole Court is it's a bunch of broken people with troubled pasts and broken pasts coming together and forming this team and this found family. And you know that I'm a sucker for found family. When found family hits for me, it's like a holy experience. And it really hit for me in here because they don't want to trust each other. Specifically, Neil doesn't want to trust any of his teammates. And we're mainly following Neil, and we know that he has a really hard past. And what's so interesting about Neil is that even though he is our main character, we're still constantly getting to know him through the interactions with other characters, but specifically Andrew. And Andrew is my baby. I love Andrew. I love Andrew so much. And I absolutely love the women in this trilogy. We don't even get to focus on them as much as a lot of the men in here, but when we do, I just absolutely love them. I would love a book just about them because I'm so interested. I think the other thing that's really fun about this book and the series overall is it reads very much like fan fiction, and there are debates about whether or not this is the Raven Boys fan fiction or if it's like Teen Wolf fan fiction. And I can say as a Raven Boys lover that I can see some of the connections to the Raven Boys in here, but also not exactly. I think the closest that I would be willing to come to saying this reminds me of the Raven Boys is maybe the Dream Thieves, and that isn't because of any of the like magical stuff that happens in the Raven Boys, because this is very much not magical. There's no like magic system. It's just about this made up sports team. But if you've read the Dream Thieves, then you will know that that is Ronan's book, and Ronan is a very troubled character, and he has this very toxic friendship with this guy named Kavinsky, and I just feel like the Dream Thieves is a tame version of what's happening in this trilogy. But that's like the only thing I could say really reminds me of the Raven Boys, other than like the found family aspect, because that's why I love the Raven Boys so much, was because of the found family. Also, I'm not rating any of these. I just don't have it in me to rate them. I had a fun time. It was very problematic. I recognize the problems within this book, like the way that things are addressed and like some of the language that's used in here and some of the imagery that's used in here. Like I completely understand that it's problematic and trashy. So I'm not necessarily promoting it as like, you should go out and read it, and I'm not gonna really rate it or anything like that. I just had fun, okay? And I'm attached to these characters, very attached. That being said, the brain rot is real, but I think I'm going to jump into Guild by Raven Kennedy. I'm gonna be buddy reading this with my friend Robin. Guild is supposed to be a retelling of King Midas. I have been really interested in this ever since it got picked up and was republished. I've seen it around, but more recently a lot of people have been reading it, and I think this is a little bit out of my comfort zone, but also I'm just excited to see if I end up liking this or not. And all I really know about King Midas is that his touch turns everything to gold. So I'm curious about what this story is gonna follow. I mean, I don't really have the background, so it's not like that would make much of a difference for me. I will probably start this now. I just finished eating, but most of my morning I've been playing Zelda and watching Tori from Tori Between Pages play Zelda on Twitch. That's been a really cute and fun time. It's been really relaxing, and I've just barely left the couch. Goose and I have been snuggling on the couch for hours, and I think it's really what I needed. I really do. Listen, who knew all I needed was a few days off to deep clean my house, sing Chappell Roan songs at the top of my lungs, and rot on the couch reading books and playing Zelda. Who knew that I needed all that for my mental health? I actually did. I did know that. I actually did know that I needed that, and that's why I took some time off. So listen, the last couple of days I have been chasing away the saddies. I have been chasing away the saddies because I've been singing my favorite songs really loud as I'm getting ready for the day. And I'm not joking. I literally melted into the couch yesterday and barely got off of the couch, barely stopped playing Zelda. I stopped playing when my eyeballs hurt. I've just really been thriving in this moment. I started Guild this morning, which I was gonna start it yesterday, but I ended up watching YouTube videos instead. And I am now more than halfway. I'm on chapter 21, page 214. I don't know how many pages are in here actually. And there are 384 pages. So I'm pretty close to finishing this book. I will definitely be finishing it today. And I'm happy to say that I'm actually enjoying this. Now it's not like a new favorite. I think it'll probably be a 3 stars. It really depends on how this ends. And that's simply because there's not much meat to this story so far. And I think people are right in saying that this reads like a prequel because this gives you a lot of intrigue into the world. It gives you a lot of intrigue into what politically is happening with King Midas, the importance of our main character Oren and their relationship, and the fact that she's like his favored concubine of sorts. Like I don't even want to get into what they call the concubines in here because it's so silly, but she is favored by him and she has been touched by Midas, which if you don't know anything about Midas, he has a golden touch, so he turns everything that he touches to gold. And because of this, he has accumulated a lot of wealth and power, and he has a lot of people vying for allegiances with him. So this book is from Oren's perspective, and at the very beginning we know that she is in a cage. She's locked in a cage, and when you meet her and you kind of get established in this world that she's in a cage, you would imagine that she actually is there not by her own choice, but actually she put herself there in so many ways because she made a deal with King Midas that if he saved her from a really horrible situation, gave her food, shelter, and safety, that she would essentially be his willing captive prisoner. I don't know if you can call her a prisoner if she's willing, but she's like willingly in this cage. She's willingly living this lifestyle, and she actually has a lot of love for King Midas in ways. She's kind of obsessed with him and he's obsessed with her, but King Midas is married to another woman, and that's a very contentious relationship as well because there's contention between this couple since they can't produce an heir, but there's also contention because it's very clear that Midas has an obsession with Oren and it's getting between their marriage. That being said, Oren is so reliant on this alliance that King Midas and her have that she doesn't ever believe that her safety is in question. But there is a situation that unfolds, a political situation that unfolds with another king, and King Midas actually breaks her trust. And so that's kind of the story in this book, is that relationship being tested / broken in here. But also there's some political machinations that I think are going to be the lead up to what this story is going to unfold into. But so far, it's really just been this one specific situation and building their relationship and what that dynamic looks like, and like Oren's kind of obsession with King Midas as well as his obsession with her. And this is definitely dark. I mean, like first page, people were clapping cheeks. So if you don't like smutty things, I wouldn't really pick this up. It's not that it's necessarily between the two characters, although I don't know if King Midas is like the ultimate love interest in here. That situation wasn't between our two characters. There are many trigger warnings at the beginning of this book that this is a dark romance, and there are a lot of triggering aspects to this book, and there are a lot of characters surrounding Oren that make very lewd and disrespectful comments about her and about what they would like to do to her. And I can only imagine as the series goes on, it'll probably get darker and more triggering. I don't actually know that, and I'm not really sure where this series is headed, but I'm interested. I mean, so far I'm having a pretty good time. Anyway, I'm gonna go finish this, I'm gonna make some lunch, and I'm gonna continue playing Zelda until my eyeballs fall out.
Till your eyebrows point to your jawbone in just the right way. If you made a mistake, you can come back for a replay. I've been thinking about you these days, but you'll crash your car if you change your heart, making U-turns on the freeway, on the freeway, on the freeway.
Back there. I just ate lunch and I feel alive again. Also, I have been sipping on the Firecracker liquid IVs. It tastes like a melted popsicle. It tastes like a melted popsicle, and it is the perfect summer treat. I actually was trying to go outside to read earlier, and it was just too hot. I might go out a little bit later in the evening because it looks like it's getting a little bit blowy and flowy out there. So maybe there will be like a nice little breeze coming in. I don't really know. Also, I'm so sorry. I just realized that I have been filming in the same exact spot basically this entire vlog. I'm so sorry. I finished Guild, and I then immediately went to the bookstore and got the next two because they were both in a buy one get one 50% off sale, and I knew that because I got this in a buy one get one 50% off sale, but a different book. Spoiler alert, I really liked it. I mean, it's not like a 5-star or any favorite, it's definitely like a 3, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But I ended up getting these. Also, why is this one, why are we going the page length? The page length just got so much bigger in this one. I guess the formatting is still the same. It's pretty interestingly formatted where there's like not a lot per page. So yeah, Guild, I ended up really liking this. I'm probably giving it a 3 stars, if not like a 3.5. I will say right off the bat, the second half of this book has a lot of sexual violence that I wasn't expecting. Like, I was expecting some violence towards women because I had read all the triggers for this. It was one of the reasons I had been putting off this series, even though I had heard really great things. And I have to say, in the first half, I was kind of optimistic that maybe it was just that there were a couple things in here that felt problematic. And then in the second half, there was a lot of gratuitous violence towards women. And in some cases, I can see why somebody wouldn't want to move on with the series based on just the second half of this book alone. There's a situation where our main character and a few of the concubines end up getting taken by these like pirate lords, and it's not a good time. It's as you would imagine, as pirates are portrayed. It was very much that. But I did like how the very end happens. The last 2 chapters of this book really got me, and the thing is that I really enjoyed the writing in here. Our main character is not the smartest, but it's forgivable for me because of the circumstances in which she's placed in. But I am very optimistic. I'm very hopeful that in the rest of this series we're going to see a lot of growth from her, because just at the end of this book I feel like we start to see some shifts in her and the things that she's realizing. Also, the very last chapter, I was like, oh, I didn't expect this. I didn't see it coming, and it made me very excited to move on with the series. If I'm honest with you, I don't know that much about King Midas. I know the basics, like that he turns everything to gold, and that is a big aspect of this book, but I don't know anything I don't really know anything else about him, so I'm interested at how much of that story, that fairy tale, is interwoven through the rest of the series, or if that's just part of the setup and the dynamic between our main character and King Midas. I also don't know if King Midas is like the love interest in here. Obviously, she is his favored, but I don't know if she's gonna have like a come to Jesus moment and he's not gonna be it for her, or what's gonna happen. Maybe she has multiple love interests. I have no idea. I'm just very interested. This book immediately, like the world was so intriguing to me that I'm excited to move on to the next one. I'm still cautiously optimistic about it because I don't know how much I could handle of all of the sexual violence and like misogyny against women. And I know that a big part of this world is that it's very misogynistic. And I'm hoping that we have some pushback against that. I have seen a lot of fantasy romances where it starts out in a very patriarchal, extremely misogynistic world, and we get to see our female main characters fighting against that. I didn't realize though how long this series was. I thought this was like 4 or 5 books. No, this is gonna be like 8 books or something like that. I'm gonna remain cautiously optimistic. Maybe next week I'm probably gonna dive into the second book. There are no audio books for the rest of the series. This one has an audiobook. The second audiobook comes out in August. But I think for now I'm just gonna read them physically. And I'm actually gonna try to read the series before the next one comes out. Can I do it? I don't know. I have been reading so many things. I don't know. I keep starting series, so we'll see. Which, speaking of, I ended up starting God Killer, but I've been trying to read my Libro FM audiobooks, and this was one that I've had for a while. I've had it since before it came out because I get ALCs, and I decided to start it because I think it's only a duology and the second book is already out, and I'm like, I just need to give it a try for myself because I've heard really mixed reviews about this book. So I am currently 7% in and I'm enjoying it. I don't have much to say. I want to get a little bit further before I give you a synopsis, but so far I'm really liking it and the narration is great. I love the audiobook, so I do highly recommend the audiobook if you are interested in this book. Hello friends, happy Monday. So this is the last day of the vlog and I have a few updates before I close it out. Basically, I got 30% into God Killer and I ended up DNFing it. And the reason I'm gonna be DNFing it is simply because the characters are really flat to me. I'm having a really hard time connecting to the characters, and I've said it millions and trillions of times. I am such a character-driven reader. If I can't connect to any of the characters in a book, the plot and like world is not gonna carry me through. Like, I could have finished this book and it would have been a solid 3 stars probably, simply because I don't really have any connection to the characters. And I'm frustrated by this because I actually do think that the plot and the world are so interesting, because this starts out with our main character Kissin seeing her entire family slaughtered by the fire god and the water god that her and her family worshipped not being able to help. And this spurs a new king within this kingdom to outlaw gods in general. And the gods in this world are very interesting because it's sort of like American Gods, if you've ever watched or read American Gods by Neil Gaiman, where it's believed that any god that pops up in the world is being worshipped in some capacity, that gods can't exist without followers or worship. And I think that's so interesting, and I really loved that in American Gods, and that is a premise that's happening here. And we see that these gods are outlawed, but gods keep popping up. So we do have people called god killers. They obviously kill gods, and because of what happened to Kissin in her childhood, she ends up becoming a god killer. And obviously she has a very tainted outlook on gods and godhood in general, and now that she is a god killer, you can kind of see where her beliefs lie. But there's a young noble girl who ends up having this very unique bond to a god, and she doesn't really know how it happened. And this is something that hasn't been seen before so far. And so this noble woman actually asks Kristan to help her. So Kristan ends up going on this adventure with this young noble woman and this other character that we meet who is a knight, and they go to this forbidden land where gods reside, and they need to ask the gods to try and untwine the souls of the noble woman and this small god. So I ended up getting to the point where they're at the beginning of the quest, and like I said, I really like this world. I love that there are gods in here and that the gods are outlawed and we have a god killer, and I really loved the beginning of this book. It was really strong. I thought that this might be a new favorite series, but unfortunately as we continue getting further, I just felt at arm's length from all of the characters and I just couldn't get into it. And it's frustrating because, like I said, I like the world. I like the concept here. I think that it'll probably be executed really well. And I think that if you are a plot-driven person and characters you can give or take, then this will probably work really well for you. Unfortunately for me, I just need to enjoy the characters and I didn't. So I'm DNFing it. I DNF'd at 30%. Maybe at a different point in time, I will get back into it, and maybe listening to the audiobook is not the way to go for this one. So if I ever get my hands on a physical copy, maybe I'll read it physically and see if I feel differently, because sometimes that happens, not often, because I really do love audiobooks and I love the experience of audiobooks. But I can't be too upset because I had a pretty good reading week this week. I enjoyed most everything that I was reading, and like I said, I didn't hate God Killer, I just didn't feel connected to the characters. So I was getting a little bit like, I don't want to say bored, but I was zoning out a lot. I was finding it hard to find things to care about, I guess. So yeah, anyway, thanks so much for hanging out with me this week. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Let me know down below what you have been reading and loving recently. And if you've made it this far and have nothing else to say, feel free to leave a bird emoji down below, and I will talk to y'all next time. Bye, friends.